policy bill, with some members of his own party still holding out.
The president hopes to get it done before the holiday weekend. Fox 5 anchor Russ Spencer joins us now at the live desk with more on what's holding things up. Russ, well, Tom, according to the bottom line is this. Ultra-conservative members of the House Freedom Caucus want more spending cuts. And since the Republicans have a slim majority in the House, the holdouts can stall the legislation. Now, President Trump called into the White House with House Speaker Mike Johnson for some last-minute arm twisting. President Trump, how are you feeling, sir, about your big, beautiful bill today?
Very well.
I think progress is made. I think that there is a pathway forward that we can see. But again, the leadership will have to figure out, what the time frame of this is. The president yesterday laid out some real clear terms, and we're working to achieve those.
That's Chip Roy of Texas, one of the Republican opponents. Speaker Johnson worked out a deal with another group of holdouts who want to raise the cap on state and local tax deductions. The so-called Big Beautiful Bill would extend tax cuts from President Trump's first term and remove taxes on tips and overtime, among other campaign promises. The Democrats say millions of Americans would lose health insurance under Medicaid. Now, the bill is so big, it even deals with artificial intelligence. Republicans are pushing for a 10-year ban on AI regulation at the state level. Now, they want to leave the rulemaking up to the federal government for the time being. Members of the House Energy and Commerce Committee asked some tough questions today about who should regulate AI.
Much of the AI marketplace is comprised of small startups, and heavy-handed regulations may ensure that the next great American company never makes it.
The Republicans' giant gift to big tech would block enforcement of laws on the books right now that are protecting Americans from real-world harms.
Attorneys general from 40 different states warned that the ban would limit their ability to fight the use of AI for things like deepfakes and cyber scams. So that is another potential complication to the passage of the president's bill. If Democrats remain totally opposed, as they are now, Republicans can only afford to have 3 members vote no and still pass it.
This is the Nation's Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. This is a very important video about the big, beautiful bill. Sounds a lot like Build Back Better, doesn't it? BBB, or is it 666? You tell me. If you actually read between the lines of what is in this big, beautiful bill, everybody out there needs to pay attention. The headlines you're going to see are going to talk about taxes, right? Because that's the only word, it's a trigger word that they use to get people on board with some of these bills that they pass, right? Ooh, it's a big tax bill. It's going to save you money in your wallet. Or is it a big tax bill that's going to add to the American debt? Well, who cares about either, really? Because they're going to tax us to death one way or the other. But what this is really about is what I've warned about for years. The theme of the New World Order, which is harped on every single time they meet at the World Economic Forum, at the United Nations, is called artificial intelligence governance. It is the means to connect all the governments of the earth on one platform, a digital prison. And if you look at what this bill really is, this bill will bring about AI governance with no pushback whatsoever. And remember, if you haven't seen my video on the Golden Dome for America, what it really is bringing in the surveillance system, Skynet, total tracking drones all around America, all in the name of national security. But the real threat to them isn't an outside force like Russia or China, because they're colluding together. The real threat to them is a mass awakening. It's people like us waking other people up to what's happening. And that's why they need full-on surveillance, because they're going to consider us enemies of the state. They're going to convince the sheeple through mind control strategies and techniques, which are very easy for them to do these days, that we are the new modern day terrorists, because we're not on board with Big Brother's surveillance initiatives, okay? So if you look at this bill, this big, beautiful bill is nothing more than a big, beautiful hell on earth that they are creating. As always, which is their protocol between the left and right, these people can't think further back than the day before because they're just completely bombarded with technology and distractions. But we remember when we would hear these 1,000-page bills getting put on Joe Biden's desk and he'd be signing it and the conservatives would be yelling and screaming about the bill, saying that nobody even read the bills. We need to make the bill shorter. Well, this is a 1,116-page bill, and buried on page 291 of that bill under section 43201, it describes a 10-year moratorium on state-level enforcement of any law or regulation that regulates artificial intelligence models, artificial intelligence systems, or automated decision systems. So no pushback is allowed on AI on the state level, which means that it would go to the federal level, where we're seeing Donald Trump as the face of the New World Order bringing in AI infrastructure. So if he's the one who's bringing in AI infrastructure on day one, passing a bill on day one saying, we're bringing in AI infrastructure, we're going to set up a grid in Texas, which has its own power supply. We don't care about our weakened power grid and the rest of humanity here on Earth, or specifically here in America, which we tell you is vulnerable every day. We're going to build one specifically for AI so it never can go offline. If you think for one second that by this bill, taking the ability of states to block artificial intelligence governance, well, think again, it's going to go to the federal level, and they're going to make sure it does not get blocked. They say exceptions to the rule are few and only allow for state-level rules that remove legal impediments to operating AI systems and streamlining their adoption. State laws that impose any restrictions or requirements on AI models will be considered unenforceable under the decade-long moratorium. State AGs are understandably concerned. This bill will affect hundreds of existing and pending state laws. At least 45 states and U.S. territories introduced AI-related legislation last year, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures. 31 states, along with Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands, passed legislation or adopted resolutions that regulate AI in 2024. In the face of congressional inaction on the emergence of real-world harms raised by the use of AI, states are likely to be the forum for addressing such issues. This bill would directly harm consumers, deprive them of rights currently held in many states, and prevent state AGs, attorney generals, from fulfilling their mandate to protect consumers. This moratorium would mean that even if a company deliberately designs an algorithm that causes foreseeable harm, the company making that bad tech would be unaccountable to lawmakers and the public. So think about that. Google, Alphabet Inc., Facebook, Meta, okay? All these massive tech companies who already have algorithms designed to silence us are going to move forward with more algorithms and power than even the government has. We're going to be run because everything's going to be done online. They're forcing everyone online. Are they not? We know people are already willingly online. We're online right now. They're forcing you online, one way or the other. Because while we're all online, they're quietly removing things like physical IDs and forcing you into digital IDs. Most people's communication is done on a cell phone, over the internet, when they're FaceTiming or doing one of those video conference calls with a relative, because of course they've been trained into doing that after the government locked them down for a few years over a common cough and cold, telling you that you were better off staying home and missing out on grandma's death over the Christmas holiday because you risked the chance of getting a stuffy nose, and that wouldn't have been nice for your next door neighbors. You would have been selfish if you left. And now, of course, everybody's doing everything virtually, and that's what they were training you to do. Do everything online, do everything virtually, eliminate the physical realm and push you into the digital realm. Think about the surveillance state that is going to be brought in here, not just with the Golden Dome, which again, The common person is going to think when they hear about the Golden Dome, like I covered in my previous video, that it's the Iron Dome. There are going to be missiles all around us. We're all going to be protected. They're bringing in a surveillance state. That's what the Golden Dome is. You got the Golden Dome, and now you have this big, beautiful bill, which couldn't be more opposite of what it truly is. That's going to give big tech more power over all of us, as if they don't already have that power. Big tech shutting down people from speaking on the internet, taking people's livelihoods away, spying on people, obviously harvesting our data for the government, because these big tech companies are the government. They're not really corporations. They're shell corporations for DARPA and the deep state. That's what they are. Mark Zuckerberg is an actor. Elon Musk, they're actors. To make this look like to you that all this stuff that has been happening because these geniuses in the tech world who have been coming up with these fun ideas and then getting you on board with, very slowly indoctrinating you with using Facebook and using social media, and then of course ramping up surveillance, ramping up censorship, but you become addicted to it, so now you have to comply to it because it's about behavioral control and eventually turning America into what China is, because the New World Order infrastructure is artificial intelligence governance, but it looks exactly like the world in China looks, with social credit scores and everything else, or AI firewalls, which I'll get into in a separate video about what's going on with Microsoft and how emails and communication between people are being blocked based on words they put into the algorithm, which eventually will be to completely silence us in a world where you're not allowed to have physical communication anymore. All the stuff they're doing with the post office and saying, hey, everything's going to be online anyway, everything's going to be through email. You won't be able to type certain words anymore. You won't be able to say 6G. You won't be able to email somebody about the mark of the beast. All these emails will bounce and be stopped and intercepted by Big Brother. Now, with this stuff that's going on with this bill, this literally gives the federal government the ability to do whatever they want with AI before people wake up and realize what it is, which is what I've been warning everybody about. This overwhelming amount of tech that they're throwing at people all at once. Nobody is able to process what's actually happening. If you've noticed, there's all these things happening. We're having Tesla Terminators walk the streets. We're having, all of a sudden we have Grok and we have ChatGPT and all this crap. People are just trying to figure out what it even is. And now they're putting bills in while you're trying to figure out what it is, if it even benefits humanity. They're telling you it's going to kill humanity and remove the jobs of human beings. And then they're putting in bills in place while they're throwing this all at you, saying nobody's going to be allowed to stop artificial intelligence. You will not be able to come in and stop it from happening. And it's amazing that at this point, with everything out there, if you just research and watch what they talk about at all these globalist conferences, from Bilderberg to United Nations meetings, UN to World Economic Forum, the entire thing is based on AI governance. That is the thing that they're talking about. Artificial intelligence governance, full surveillance, a boogeyman behind the curtain who's monitoring and tracking everything through these algorithms that they control. They're trying to make you think that it's less government and it's more freedom. That's the illusion. Well, we have too much government. Well, of course we have too much government. This will give the government full-on control. This just ends any freedoms whatsoever, any privacy whatsoever. And this is really the thought police being implemented, because the majority of their thinking and typing, they want to push it all onto the internet. They literally say, we're not going to office anymore, you're not going to go shop at a mall anymore. Everything you're going to do is going to be online. Oh, and by the way, you can't push back against artificial intelligence. It's too late, because Donald Trump has already quietly passed a big, beautiful bill that you think is about your taxes, but it's really about implementing AI governance, and now telling you at the federal level that no states can push back on this, no people can push back on this. We're going to give big tech companies full-on authority, just like we gave Big Pharma, and you won't be allowed to sue them. When you realize that big tech is doing this or that to you with your data, whether big tech begins, using the technology, the DARPA technology that they already have and use, like voice to skull technology or any of these types of things, but whatever, they're allowed to do whatever they want. Crimes against humanity, just like Big Pharma. You can't sue. And then we'll start forcing laws in that say, hey, what, you're going to try to go off grid? No, you're not. We're going to force you into the digital realm, and these are the rules, and you can't push back against big tech. And if big tech says you can't earn a living on YouTube or anywhere else because they don't like what you're typing in your emails, what you're saying on the internet, in forums, or under videos on YouTube, guess what? Bank account's frozen. This is frozen. You're not going to have a good social credit score. This is the beginning of all of it. And Donald Trump is the one implementing it. So they sit there and they talk about this bill, and as you heard, I played the news clip earlier. They're talking about, this is what the bill's going to mean. It's going to go to the Senate. Well, it's all about AI. That's what it's really about. How many times have we heard over our lives these bills about tax spending? Oh, it's a bill. Like I said, this is the seesaw, the left-right paradigm, right? Last couple of years, all we've heard about these bills, they're 5,000 pages long that nobody reads and they approve it. Then they come on TV and gaslight you and just work you into hysteria by telling you that, hey, they passed a $5 trillion bill, half money's going to Ukraine. And you're like, what? And then the other half's going to Sesame Street in Iraq. We're going to have Elmo dress up as RuPaul. And you're like, what? That's what my tax money's going toward? They go, we got to stop these big bills. Now it's the other side doing it. No, they have these big bills and no one's reading between the lines, right? And they just go back and forth and nobody thinks for one second to say, you know what? These people in power are really working us against one another for a reason. Because they're really just bringing this draconian laws, this full-on totalitarianism, where they're going to have total control of all of us through artificial intelligence, where words will be blocked, emails will be blocked, you will be arrested for things you say online, hate speech laws in place. That's what this is going to allow. That's what AI governance is. It's the Tower of Babel rebuilt. And if you speak against it, you will be criminalized for it. This bill that Trump is passing, this big, beautiful bill act, is nothing more than a bill that is allowing artificial intelligence governance to be put in place without the pushback of any states on any state level. Because the federal government is giving full authority to big tech, to these people we didn't vote in, these guys who are showing up at the White House like Sam Altman and Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and Elon Musk, and they're telling you out in the open, they're all hanging out around the White House, hanging around Biden, hanging around Trump. And no one's going, what are these people doing? They run companies. And they're just in the White House telling us, oh yeah, we're going to build AI infrastructure. And people just go, I don't know what that means. They go, oh yeah, we got ChatGPT, I don't know what that means. I'm trying to process what that means. I'm trying to process what this means. Oh, we have Tesla robots that are doing household chores getting sold now. And people go, wait, what? What's going on over there? I'm looking over there. And they go, oh, by the way, we just passed a bill. You cannot push back against AI because once you figure it out, you're all going to push back against it. So we're going to make sure that there's no way to push back against it. This is Trump bringing in the New World Order. Enough of this left-right garbage of people pushing against one another over gender ideologies and all these common level basic thinking nonsense that they've gotten people all worked up over because they've convinced one side that they could be born in the wrong body, the other side says they're insane. Everybody should just be looking at who's doing this, who's making people even think that way in the first place. Why all of a sudden are all these people trans again? Well, I wonder why. Could it have anything to do with the CIA? Could it have anything to do with Mockingbird Media? Could it have anything to do with MK Ultra and the mind control and how they put characters in shows that make people talk and act a certain way, and then they think they have a certain preference in a bedroom, they can't figure out what makes them happy and what doesn't make them happy. Then the other side gets all irate because they're saying, hey, we're going to push all this stuff on your kids. And then they go, down each other's throats. Nobody looks up and goes, these people are really moving us around like chess pieces. And look at what they're putting in. They're putting in a full-on surveillance state. They're telling you they're going to protect us from missiles that are coming in from Russia and China called a Golden Dome. Telling us all of this stuff with AI, it's to protect us, it's for the betterment of humanity. They can't even explain it to you. They go, we're going forward with AI, but it's going to probably wipe out humanity and kill humans at some point. It's going to be able to think for itself, and it's going to take all your jobs. And we're sitting there listening to it and doing nothing. They literally sit on TV, Bill Gates, there's no need for humans anymore. And we go, excuse me? No, nobody does that. What do these people do? They applaud. They applaud.
Everyone's talking about AI, and that's a big topic. Everyone's going to take over. It's bad, or it's good, or we don't know. The era that we're just starting is that intelligence is rare. A great doctor, a great teacher. The next decade, that will become
free, commonplace, like medical advice, great tutoring, because it solves all these specific problems. Like we don't have enough doctors or mental health professionals. Brings with it kind of so much change. What will jobs be like? But I think it's a little bit unknown. People are like, wow, this is a bit scary.
We still need humans.
Not for most things. We'll decide.
I mean, really?
Well, we'll decide. Like baseball, we won't want to watch computers play baseball. There'll be some things that we reserve for ourselves. But in terms of making things and moving things and growing food, over time, those will be basically solve problems.
I mean, will we still need humans?
Not for most things. We'll decide.
I mean, will we still need humans?
Not for most things. We'll decide.
There's no need for humans in the future. What do we need them for? We're going to be replaced with AI because the benefits outweigh the cons. What are the benefits? They don't show you any benefits. Why? Because you have a good time on your phone, watching deepfakes of Keanu Reeves going to restaurants, hitting on 80-year-old women. Oh, how great. We need AI so you could be entertained. They give you nothing and then they go, wow, it's going to help the future of healthcare. And people go, it is? They go, yeah. But they don't go, well, what does that mean? And what it means is it's full-on surveillance under your skin. That's what it means. AI in your body. This whole super intelligence they're talking about, super artificial intelligence, is you and machine mixed as one. And the AI healthcare system that they want to bring in, of course, is all designed with getting this tech inside your body, which you've been trained for with Fitbit and all this other wearable tech. Got you obsessed with tracking your heartbeat, how many steps you take, how many times you wake up in the middle of the night, how's your breathing levels. Oh, they've done that deliberately. So when the transition comes, you've already wear it on your wrist. Why not put it under your wrist? It's not for you to track your own health. It's for them. It's them to mix iron and clay, mix man and machine. And these people just look around and go, what, this sounds insane. Because you're not processing it. Nobody's stopping and thinking about what's going on around them. They're just going, oh, AI, I don't know what it is. What is AI? We don't know what AI is. But you have to accept AI. We have to accept AI. Yes, you have to accept AI. It's fun, isn't it? Yeah, I guess it's kind of fun. Huh? Oh, they're going to take your jobs, they're going to murder you, you have Terminators walking in the streets. But we'll keep you guys divided before you figure out what it really is, and we'll pass bills in Congress so that when you do figure it out, you won't be able to do crap about it. Where are the people rising up against this, realizing that this whole divide and conquer plan that they put in place is the oldest model of war in the book? Divide and conquer. And that's what you see on a day in, day out basis. With these fictional stories that the CIA creates about white cops going after black people, Black Lives Matter going after white people, putting stuff in school that says whites are bad, teaching them that, putting trans into, and everyone just goes back, we're men playing women's sports, all these poor girl athletes, and everyone's just, they don't even know what's going on because there's so much lies and so much crap that they're getting fed. And that's exactly the point. They're overloading your mind so you can't catch up to what's really happening. And I'm trying to catch people up what is happening, to what is happening. They're bringing in AI governance, and it's going to be here in a blink, and you're not even going to realize it until it's too late. And then you're going to look around, and you're going to realize, wow, I should really never have cared about what my neighbor's hair color is, because now the government wants everyone to look the same, talk the same, act the same, because it's a one-world government, where they're going to make everybody and formulate you into their perfect version of a human, which is a completely conditioned human being who is completely 100% compliant. And the things you'll be compliant to, you might say, I'm compliant, I don't want to break the laws. Oh, yeah? You be compliant when the big brother comes to your door and wants to sleep with your kids? You be compliant when big brother comes to the door and wants to taser your gonads? You be compliant to that? Of course not. But your brain is going, well, that's never going to happen. Right. Just like the government didn't just lock you down for years and then trick you into taking poison by offering you free burgers at Arby's and free lap dances, only to find out months later that, oh man, my uncle got tricked into that. He gave him $100 ago, go get a free meal at Denny's, and now he's dead. Oh, I wonder what happened. Well, it couldn't have been that, right? Can't correlate the two because it didn't happen at the moment, the exact moment it was stuck in him. He didn't drop dead on the spot, so people won't correlate what the government's doing to you. And who rolled all that out? Oh, right, Donald Trump did. And who's rolling out AI governance? Donald Trump is. But again, when you create a psychosis like they did with his fake assassination attempts and you martyr the person, that's how we get to this point. That's why the day that it happened, it's on the website, the day that event happened, the assassination, I did a video that night, right after it occurred. I said, the image of him holding up his fist is so imperative to the mind control conditioning. And now what do we see? We see it in the White House statues of it. It's a psychosis they created. A false flag, fake, phony psyop. Now people's brains are unpenetratable. They refuse to listen to what any of us say. They automatically, the conservatives now go, oh, you must be a Democrat or a Biden supporter. They can't even wrap their heads around, oh, how about none of us support who listen to this channel, the left or the right, because it's not real. It's a division mechanism. So you stay divided while they bring in this enslavement surveillance state. And that's what they're doing. That's what this bill does. People out there need to snap out of it. The next thing you know, this AI surveillance, this stuff under your skin, this way of life that they have planned for us, where they've already conditioned you with drones and they've conditioned you with spy balloons, they've been conditioning you into this. And now they're just distracting you every single day so you don't pay attention to it and putting bills out there going, hey, here's the new bill. What? What's it about taxes? It's about taxes. Is there anything there about trans people? I want to know if there's anything there about the transgender community. Oh, let me look. How about all this stuff about AI? How about all your rights going to artificial intelligence and all of your rights going to big tech companies and all of your data and everything you do and say on the internet? And the fact that you can't sue big tech companies anymore for censorship, for data breaches, none of it. No different than Big Pharma. I hear the conservatives yelling about Big Pharma. Oh, we can't believe you can't sue Moderna, can't go after those people. Yeah, it's a crime. Who brought it in? Trump. How about right now? Oh, you can't go after, well, what's the big deal about going after big tech? Oh, well, you'll feel the clamps coming down harder and harder and harder as you start realizing what AI truly is here to do in the future, because it's already begun. But if you stay distracted enough and overwhelmed with nonsense enough, I guess it's really hard to piece it together. But I'm trying my best to piece it together. So, ladies and gentlemen, one big, beautiful, bullcrap bill that's all about bringing in Klaus Schwab, all the globalists, all the years, the plan has always been AI governance infrastructure. This is how you get the smart cities, the smart cars, the smart homes, and they implement the full-on system of total control. They take away the rights of the states, they take away the rights of the people, they hand it over to the federal government who ignores, doesn't listen, and continually distract you with nonsense. Tell people about this. Share this. It's not a left-right thing. Come out of the psychosis. Come out of it. They're working together. How many times do you need to see Donald Trump and Obama smiling side by side? How many times do you need to hear these guys call each other terrorists, and then when they're in the same room together, kiss each other on the cheek, only to keep you divided with your neighbor? It's the oldest model of war, divide and conquer, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. It's called the Republicans and the Democrats. The people need to wake up and rise up before it's too late. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.